Central Oregon Land Watch has steadily built our legislative presence in Salem, and 2025 is shaping up to be our most impactful year yet. Since the start of the session in February, our team has analyzed more than 330 bills, advocating for innovative policy solutions while opposing legislative threats. We even introduced proactive legislation to strengthen protections for our rural lands, a first for Land Watch since 2009 when we used a similar tool to protect the Metolius River Basin. And we're only halfway through. From habitat connectivity to water conservation, from housing solutions to farmland preservation, our program directors are really excited to share with you what they've been working on this session.
Land Watch's Cities and Towns program has been focused on two key priorities this legislative session: affordable housing and transportation. Solving Oregon's housing shortage is a top priority for Governor Kotek and this legislature, and there have been a lot of housing bills. We are focused on two of the most impactful and important ones. So first up is House Bill 3031, and this bill is a game changer because it takes a direct run at tackling one of the biggest barriers we have to building more affordable housing here in Central Oregon: infrastructure. This bill would establish a state-level infrastructure funding program specifically for producing more affordable housing. The second priority bill is House Bill 2138, and this bill is all about making it simpler and easier to build more types of affordable housing within our cities and towns. This would boost infill and middle housing options that we really need, like duplexes, triplexes, cottage clusters, and ADUs. This efficient use of available land within our existing cities and towns is also really great for building more wildfire-safe, climate-resilient, and complete communities. Another key focus this legislative session is transportation. And these big, complex bills typically take all session long to pull together, and that is what we're seeing in 2025. We're really proud and excited to be a part of Move Oregon Forward. This is a statewide coalition of over 50 climate, environmental justice, active transportation, and conservation organizations, and we're all working to make sure that this package is fair, sustainable, and well-funded. We are halfway through the session, and so that means there are going to be lots of opportunities to continue to make your voice heard and help move some of these key priorities around affordable housing and transportation forward.
Land Watch's Wildlands and Water program is working on promising policy for wildlife and waterways in Oregon during the 2025 legislative session. On the wildland side, House Bill 2978 would strengthen Oregon's connectivity law, updating Oregon Department of Transportation standards on highway safety and wildlife connectivity. With broad support on both sides of the aisle, we're really optimistic that this bill will pass during this session. We're also working on an important opportunity to establish a permanent funding mechanism to support both wildlife connectivity and wildlife vehicle collision reduction programs here in the state of Oregon. On the water side, we're supporting House Bill 3806, another promising bill that would establish a water bank here in the Deschutes Basin to better support our rivers, our farms, and communities. The bill would help address water shortages in the Deschutes Basin by making it easier to share water, helping to restore in-stream flows and support food-producing farms. Based on our conversations with legislators and other community partners, as well as the strong advocacy efforts of our communities here in Central Oregon, we are optimistic about the bill's chance of becoming law this session. I just want to thank all of our community here in Central Oregon for the many times you've shown up to support the policy we're working on in Salem during the 2025 session. Thank you. There's going to be lots of other opportunities coming up in the second half of the session, so please stay tuned, and thank you.
This legislative session, Land Watch is fighting back against a wave of bills that threaten our rural farm and forest lands. We're also promoting our own legislation that would end spot zoning and promote responsible stewardship of our rural natural resources. Land Watch's legislative concept to end spot zoning, which is the notorious and unsustainable practice of rezoning individual farm and forest properties for residential and industrial development, was introduced on Land Watch's behalf by Senator Golden as Senate Bill 73. Although Senate Bill 73 lacked the needed support from state legislators to pass this session, we've laid the critical groundwork needed for future legislative opportunities to finally end the practice of spot zoning. We've also been really encouraged by the number of Oregonians from across the state who've joined us in opposing a slate of bad bills that would weaken protections for farm and forest lands. This resounding response has helped us ensure that these many bad bills, which would undermine Oregon's land use planning system, have been stopped. It's also important to recognize that there is growing interest in Salem to roll back land use protections, potentially opening the door for increased rural sprawl on farm and forest lands. Landwatch will continue monitoring these efforts and reach out again when your voice is needed. The legislative session moves really fast, and often we have to reach out to our community with little notice, but you all have shown up and made a big difference in Salem this year.
We're so grateful to the hundreds of Landwatch supporters that have taken action this session. It's clear that your voices are being heard and making a difference. Now, to get promising bills across the finish line by mid-June, we really need your sustained engagement. Landwatch depends on the collective advocacy of our dogged community to secure innovative policy solutions and ensure our region's livable future. Visit centraloregonlandwatch.org for opportunities to get involved, provide testimony, contact your legislators, and have a real impact in Salem. Together, we will continue protecting our environment and creating complete, vibrant communities for all.